If I would have to make a top 3 Disney Plus Marvel episodes list, so that includes WandaVision, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and Loki, this episode about Doctor Strange will make that top 3. That's how much I'm invested in this. It's dark, it's emotional, it's twisted, it's a character study and a major event at the same time. It's about love, grief, time, reality, everything told in a 30-minute time window, and you know what? The 30 minutes were enough. Hi fellow Disney Plus watchers, this is Thoughts After a Disney Plus Watch, where we review everything new Disney Plus coming out, and I'm glad you are watching. This is the channel that's specifically about movies, shows, and all that's Disney Plus original stuff. Funny enough, the ingredients I mentioned just now, love, grief, reality, all that, those are all some major ingredients in the show WandaVision, and I love that show. It's still my favorite Marvel thing. But if this episode, what if Doctor Strange didn't lose his hands but his heart, if this episode stood for what the show What If was all about, this would probably become my favorite show. But I think it won't, as we get vastly different stories, which all vastly differ in quality, at least so far. But just a fair warning here before we move on, I do want to discuss spoilers from here on out to really do this episode justice, so you can press that watch later button if you haven't seen this yet, and you should, because it's insane. Still here? Let's go. The story opens with Stephen Strange and Christine going on a date. They take the wrong turn and Christine dies. This is the What If event of this week. After that, we see the aftermath, the funeral, and the grieving Strange. And just as he did in the Doctor Strange movie, Stephen looks for guidance in the mystic arts, and we get this quick montage with some really cool imagery of him learning the ways of the Force, I mean the mystic arts. But his precious Eye of Agamotto leaves him to go on this dark path, trying to get Christine back, but what he has to go through to get there is pretty rough. He summons all these ancient beasts who all, I don't know, possess some part of the wisdom he needs to change an absolute point in time. Now this sequence was really cool. This is where the animation really shines. Really, I don't think this story could have been told this effectively in live action. And it's the first of the 4 What If episodes where I think that is the case. Now, just a thought, but I thought Stephen needed all of the powers of these beings to get the power to change an absolute point in time, but he also calls upon this bug and says, nice cape, but I draw the line at bugs. Now, wait a minute. Apparently Stephen can pick and choose? Anyway, it's not a big deal. Something I noticed, but moving on. This is the first episode of the series where the concept of alternate timelines, which is the selling point of the show, is also directly integrated into the story. It's literally about colliding timelines, and it tells the biggest story yet. Still, all my criticisms that I have around What If are completely non-existent here. Like, the first 2 episodes had the downside of cramming story beat after story beat, like 2 hours worth of story into a 30-minute time window. Now, why does this episode doesn't suffer from that same problem, in my opinion? Because a lot happens. Stephen tries to get Christine back like 10 times, hears from the Ancient One he split the timeline, goes into exile to absorb powerful beings for years and years, gets confronted by his alternate timeline self, they have a fight, the whole world crumbles, the Watcher goes to visit but doesn't interfere, not even when the entire reality ceases to exist. But my point is, this is also a really grand story, but in my opinion it doesn't suffer from the same pacing issues that are just so common for What If, in my opinion. I think it is because the story is so character focused. We do spend a lot of time with Christine, and the episode focuses on just the right things. It doesn't have to feed us a lot of exposition from all sorts of different characters. This isn't about a group of Ravagers and the Thanos and the Collector. This isn't about a whole group of Avengers. This doesn't have to cover the whole Captain America the First Avenger movie. I thought the pacing and flow of this story was perfect, actually. Now it does beg the question though, why is the death of Christine an absolute point in time when this story starts in the same universe, and then because Stephen Strange takes a different turn, he crashes into a different car or something, and well, Christine dies. How can it possibly be an absolute point in time if it's one of the many possibilities? Because wouldn't that make the original Doctor Strange movie not even possible? Not a criticism really, just something to think about. But hey, What If has been becoming better and better every week. I really didn't like the first one, the Captain Carter one. I thought the T'Challa episode was okay, but too rushed to really be able to enjoy it properly. The third one was just a good, solid story with a nice twist to it. But this, oh man, I'm so happy now that this show exists, if only for this masterpiece of a story. Yes, I'm calling it a masterpiece of a story that goes completely Shakespearean, and I love it. The most effective and dramatic moments are in the finale for sure. Christine seeing what kind of monster Stephen has become, the Watcher leaving Strange to see his fate, and I love that we didn't just get evil Strange, right? We got to follow the misguided Strange, as the Ancient One called him, way more than the sensible Strange that made the right choice, right? And in the end, he acknowledges that the path he has been on has been a mistake and becomes a victim of his own actions. Villains like this are the most interesting characters because they are not really victims, but misguided people who are in a downward spiral. I'm thinking about wrapping this up. Thank you so much for watching. I'm curious, what did you think of this episode? Be sure to let me know in the comment section. Don't forget, if you enjoy the idea of discussing Disney Plus content with us, that red button looks familiar, right? And if you're interested in thoughts on previous episodes, it's all in the description, or you can browse the channel page. Did you like this video? Then be sure to consider giving that a click. Thanks. I'll be back next week with a new episode and of course with all sorts of Disney Plus stuff. For now, have a wonderful day and see ya.